My name is Shady Hebeish, and I work at Hebeish Group. The company started 78 with my grandfather, joined with him my dad and his brothers, and we are the third generation. There was an unction, there was something pressing me to go into ministry full time. And amazingly, my dad was so happy and he said, go ahead. And I went to full time ministry for years until 2004. My dad he had a heart attack, and in less than 30 minutes he passed away. And at that time, I had to go back to business. After my dad passed away, I discovered that we had a $20 million debt with an interest rate of 16%. In Egypt, and at those times, not paying your debt means imprisonment. So it meant that at least my two uncles and myself, and two of my cousins would be in prison for many, many years. We were in it together, and I felt that we believed that God would do a series of miracles. He did much more than we asked or think, but still we believed then something was going to happen. I had to leave what I was doing. I had to leave the ministry. I had to go back to a business to work with people I did not choose. And I cannot leave. One of the things is that when I went to the company, it was the time when I went in work, it was the time where they were doing the agreements. It was just 6 months after my dad passed away. And I remember my uncle calling me and said, here, this is the agreement. I will need you to come and sign. But one or two of the things he said were not convincing for me. But also what's more is that I did not feel a check. I felt that something inside is not right. But yet I prayed, and the unrestness would increase. And so I went back for the first time in my life to tell my uncles that I'm not signing this contract. This agreement. The tension stayed for 48 hours. A divine appointment happened. My oldest uncle then, he said, I have a very good bank consultant. We handed the agreement to the guy, and he said, this is a terrible agreement. This is a death sentence to the business. And I remember after he left, my other uncle turned and said, praise the Lord, because the Lord today has saved us from a big trap. And from there, we had a negotiation with the bank, with this consultant helping us. We had an agreement, we had a plan. It was much, much better. This is our cornerstone. For us, at that point, every year was a harvest year, where tenfolds were given.
So when my uncle started producing HDPE pipes, he was the only one in the market because the market was a PVC market. So there were many people manufacturing PVC pipes and no one knew what HDPE was. So he stayed a while trying to market it and no one knew what he was talking about. Consultants didn't know what it was, contractors and so on. So he started, marketing it, and then all the other companies followed when the market started shifting from PVC towards HDPE or high density polyethylene.
And this product today has been used in high rises, iconic places in the Cairo capital, the new capital, in Alamein high rises, places that will be well known throughout the world, just like the high rises in Dubai and the Burj Khalifa. There are projects like this in Egypt now, will be known to the people.
It's important to differentiate yourself in the market, and there is a lot of competition. It's an easy market to penetrate. So if you don't have the quality, then you're just like everyone around you. So it's very important to make sure that your product is a good product that will last more than 50 years, because this is not something that you use for a couple of years. This is something that is meant to be there for 50, 100 years.
We are an innovative company. We have always been one step ahead. And yes, this is something that makes us special. And I believe God is a God who always is a creative God. He's the God of the creation. Being creative and being innovative is part of his DNA. And we believe it's part of Hebeish's DNA too. 2011, I don't know if you know history, but it was the year of revolution. Things were very messy here. And we had a meeting. We read from the Isaac, when the Lord said, do not go down to Egypt. Stay here, work in this land, and I will give you harvest. And I remember he said, I believe this year is going to be a harvest year. And in 2011, we made the highest revenue since the company started. And at that time, people were closing up. They were just trying to maintain the business. Some people even went broke. Businesses went out of businesses. That was divine. There's nothing we could do. We couldn't have done it. Today, I'm just here to say that God has been so faithful. It wasn't easy. It wasn't always linear. Sometimes up, sometimes down, but much more than we asked or thought. But we had to, or we have to, stay faithful, because He is always faithful. They said the debt would not be paid back, and if we could do it, it would be over 3 generations. It's not only that we paid it, but what we have created, Hebeish Group, the portfolio we have, and the name today in the market, it's unbelievable. It's only God. There was a lot of ways where you can make money that would not be with integrity. We helped people. Integrity meant giving help, giving to the society, even when we could have held back info that would help us, give us an edge.
It could have been challenging at times, trying to maintain the good quality of products, trying to think of new things to introduce to the market, maybe with some financial constraints or when things were a bit tough. So it was always a conscious decision to make sure that we're not going to compromise on quality, we're not going to use inferior material, we're not going to try to make a quick sale and run. So it's always been there, but I think it's been rooted from our parents, I guess, and the older generation has always been rooted. We have to make sure that quality is top.
We give a time period, then within this time period, things will be done. And I think this is one of the things that makes us stand out, because our words are solid.
Now, Hebeish is always known. The price might not always be the lowest price, but we were always a guaranteed name, with honesty and with reliability.
Growing up, the debt was always in conversation, but now the language is different. You know, it's like, okay, so we have, like, what are we gonna do? Like, where do you want to invest? Like, it's not about the debt anymore. It's just, let's enjoy other decision-making processes that has no limitations to something that has been there for so long and limiting you for so long.
Going to a new place that's just desert with a trench, with fixing pipes, and then visiting it again, seeing things coming up, it's very rewarding. And it's nice to see that, yeah, there's a new city. We hear of the new Alamein, for example. You know that our pipes are there. You know, there's a new capital, you know our pipes are there. So it's very rewarding. And every time you visit it and you find development, you're like, you know, there's part of us there.
For us, the business, things were not always going linearly from one success to another. We had times where things went well, times where things went very bad. Staying faithful and believing that life is not just linear, and even with God, things sometimes there are successes and there is setbacks. Hebeish name means to people in business, integrity, honesty, humility. Their humbleness. People are humble in the sense of being approachable. It's a name that has been there for so long with the same values. It's only getting better. Usually things decay, but in the kingdom with the Lord, things go from glory to glory. I think Hebeish family is that.